Am I audible and visible to all of you? Just confirm.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, you can see the screen that I'm sharing, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so today we'll be starting with the cardiovascular system. Basically, it's the heart and the blood vascular system. So there are this term itself, cardiovascular. What does the word cardio means?
Heart.
Related to heart.
Yes, so it's related to heart. And vascular. Vascular is basically the vessels, right? The vasculature in which what flows.
Blood.
Yes. So heart and vessels are connected by blood, right? So basically in cardiovascular system, we have to study about these three things: the heart, the blood, and the blood vessels, both arteries. Now blood vessels are of two types: arteries and veins, right? So this is in totality like about cardiovascular system that we have to study. So today we'll be studying about blood, and then we'll go on to other things which are important for this chapter. So before I begin, let me ask you, what do you understand? So we have talked about blood already, right? What is blood? Let's start
A
with,
connective tissue.
yes, it is a connective tissue. What kind of a connective tissue? But it doesn't look like a tissue, does it? It looks like a liquid. So what's special about blood? What is special about blood? Tissue,
It's red in color.
it's red in color. Yes, it's red in color, but it's the only liquid tissue in the body. Remember I told you that? Tissues, when we talk about tissue, when we say something is tissue, we say that it's solid, right? All our tissues, name any tissue of the body and it's solid, except for blood. Blood is the only liquid tissue, okay? And it's a connective tissue because it connects. And why we call something a tissue? How do we define classically something as a tissue? What is the definition of a tissue? It's very basic. Tell me.
A collection of cells.
Yes, a collection of cells, that group of cells that act together or function together as one to achieve one common function, right? That is called a tissue. If you just take cells from different parts of the body and put it together in a collection, will it become a tissue?
No, sir, they won't work together.
Exactly. So in order to call something a tissue, it's not just a collection of cells, but also those cells need to work together to achieve a common function, right? Like there are multiple different types of cells in different organs, or let's say different systems, but they together, like in brain, we don't only have neurons in the brain, right? But other cell types along with neurons work together to achieve a common function of cognition, memory, learning, and a conscious and sensory modalities. That's why now we call it a neural tissue. Do you understand? So same is with blood. Blood is a connective tissue. And what about the composition of blood? Before we talk about composition, let's talk about some characteristics of blood. For example, pH. What is the pH of blood? What do you think should be the pH of blood? How many of you have seen blood? Because if you're going to be doctors, you will be seeing a lot of blood in your life.
Sir,
So
patch of
you almost
blood.
your blood, right? Or at some point of time, if you got an injury in your lip or mouth, you must also have tasted your own blood, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you think blood is in terms of pH? Just tell me acidic or basic. What do you think blood should be?
In the middle.
Basic.
Basic. Mariam is saying
Yes, sir.
what? Mariam, what are you?
Neutral.
Neutral. Okay. So it's slightly basic alkaline. It's 7.3 to 7.4 in pH. So the pH is 7.3 to 7.4, and blood basically can maintain its pH. It acts as a buffer for a lot of things. Remember yesterday we were talking about H2CO3 and carbonate ion, bicarbonate ions getting dissolved in the blood, right?
Yes, sir.
So all different sorts of things, even lactic acid when it is formed in the muscles, it comes into the blood sometimes, or any other sort of acid like formic acid when you get a bee sting or something, it goes into the immediate like muscles and blood, but it never like increases or decreases its pH. It can maintain its pH. Okay. Now about the constitution. So what do you think is all present in the blood? There are two type of things in the blood majorly. One is called the cells. There are blood cells, right?
Yes, sir.
And what are those blood cells dissolved into? Not dissolved, like suspended into?
Plasma.
Yes. So there is one thing which is called blood plasma, which is the solvent of the blood. And how does plasma looks like?
Pale yellowish.
Yes, it's pale yellowish, or actually it's clear. Clear plasma is very clear, but it's pale yellowish most of the time. But it's not red. Do you understand that? And other things are called the cells or the elements of the blood. We also call it formed elements. Okay. So these two things make the blood. Now, plasma constitutes for around 55% of the total blood. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
And the rest 45% is your formed elements. In these comes the blood cells. Now, what are all different type of blood cells? Let's just list it down.
RBC, WBC,
Yes. So
and
what is
plastids.
RBC? Red blood cells, right? So we also call it erythrocytes. So now onwards, and also in your examinations, if you got your papers, try to write down scientific names as much as possible, as much as you can remember it. That helps you fetch good marks. So erythrocytes. Erythrocytes is your RBC, the red blood cells. Okay, and then we have WBCs. What are white blood cells known as? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What is WBCs known as? Anyone know? It's called leukocytes. Okay, WBCs are called leukocytes. Now, how many of you have heard of a disease called blood cancer? You heard of blood cancer?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is the biological name for blood cancer?
Leukemia.
Leukemia, right?
Leukemia.
It's come from this leukocytes. You can also write K here. So actually it's also K, or C is also fine. Leukocytes. So leukemia comes from leukocytes, which means in blood cancer, what is cancer anyways? Any type of cancer. What is cancer? Cancer is abrupt growth of cells. Okay, so cells do not grow beyond a limit, and mostly that limit is decided by, in normal tissues, it's decided by a property called contact inhibition. So in our epidermis, when two cells come in contact, and when the pressure is like distributed equally along that whole layer, then cell stops dividing furthermore. When you get a wound or a cut and there is a tissue damage, then to repair that tissue and compensate its place, again cells are formed and then again stop. That is called contact inhibition, which is lost in a cancerous cell, and it keeps on dividing, and therefore it breaks the layer in which it is and forms a tumor or a lump, right? So in any kind of cancer, if it is in the solid tissues, it will form a tumor. So tumor formation is first thing. But in blood, you cannot have tumor, right? Because blood is a liquid tissue. So in blood cancer, leukocytes continuously keep on dividing and become very high in number. Normally, when do leukocytes number increase in the body?
When there is some disease causing agent in the body.
Any infection in your body and your leukocytes will go up. So that's the primary way to check if your body is undergoing any infection or inflammation, right? And different sorts of, there are different types of leukocytes as well. But normally leukocytes are our defense cells. So they go up when there is an infection. But in cancerous, in blood cancer and leukemia, they just become abruptly high, like multiple times higher. And that is one case without any infection. That is one diagnosis for a blood cancer. Now, we have discussed yesterday that RBCs do not have a nucleus, right? Correct?
Yes, sir.
So they can only be formed in their origin and in the marrow, and then can only die. They cannot divide in between, right? Because for division, for any kind of division, cell division, what happens first? Remember karyokinesis? We studied this in fungi. Karyokinesis followed by cytokinesis. Remember everyone? The life cycle of fungi, the sexual reproduction of fungi.
Yes, sir.
Karyokinesis means nucleus divides first and then the cell divides. Cytokinesis. But if there is no nucleus, so this whole there are no factors also in the RBC which can help you in cell division. So RBCs don't divide. They cannot form multiple RBCs from one. So that's why one RBC has a lifetime in the blood, and when it degrades, another RBC comes and takes its place. Okay. So in blood cancer, only leukocytes grow and divide. Apart from RBCs and WBCs, what else do we have?
Plastids.
Sorry?
Platelets.
Platelets. Did anyone say?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got confused.
Plastids are present in plants and they hold chlorophyll. Platelets. Now, what are platelets? Are platelets also cells?
They help to clot blood if there is any wound.
Yes. So basically, they are used for clotting, right? But are they cells? Am I asking? What are platelets known as? So we are writing scientific names. So we should also write. So platelets are called thrombocytes. Remember this. Erythrocytes, leukocytes, and thrombocytes. And is platelet a cell?
Yes.
Yes.
No, platelet is not a cell. It is, platelets are fragments of cell. Okay, so just write about platelets. They are not cells. They are fragments. So there is one big cell which is known as a megakaryocyte. Okay, so I'll just write it here. So there is one big cell which is called megakaryocyte, and it's very big, and it then fragments itself, like broken down into pieces, and each of these pieces is called a platelet. So it comes from this one big cell, and these are not independent whole cells. So write down, platelets are not whole cells, but are cell fragments derived from megakaryocytes. Okay, this is asked. This has been come multiple times in NEET regarding platelets. So now you can appreciate better that for a blood cancer to happen, what is the possibility now? Can erythrocytes divide? No, they don't have nucleus. Can platelets divide repeatedly? No, they are not even cells, they are fragments. So technically, which is the only true cell in the blood?
WBC.
Types of WBCs. So they divide, and that's why blood cancer is called leukemia. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So 45% is these formed elements about which we will study. But let's first come to the study of plasma. So write down something about just few things about blood. Okay, we were writing about some facts that has been asked. So this is the constitution of blood. Now megakaryocytes, you understood?
Yes, sir.
I will just draw a line so that you understand. Now, what is the amount of blood present in an adult?
2 liters.
What?
2 liters, sir.
2 liters blood is very less. So physiology is always distinctly. So human body shows sexual dimorphism, and also physiologically the parameters also show variation. So any parameter in males and females will be in a slightly different biological range. Same goes for blood. So let's come first for a female. So a healthy adult female, how much blood it can have? 4 to 5 liters. Okay. And for a male, it is 5 to 6 liters on an average. So on an average, it has been seen that males tend to have more blood in their physiology all the time, at like any time of the year, than females. One of the reason for this, there are multiple reasons. One is that the amount of musculature that males develop, and then the amount of blood which is required to feed oxygen to all that musculature. Okay. Second thing is that females also lose blood every month. Remember? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So one thing is that they are not making as much blood as males are making because it's not required for their physiology. Now that can be compensated, let's say for athletes, like female athletes, maybe they may be having more blood than an average male. But again, the point is that it's an average of a population. Okay. So it can vary, but on an average, females have 4 to 5 liters and males have 5 to 6 liters. 2 liters is very less. Okay, Abhinav? How did you remember 2 liters? Or was it just a guess?
Sir, I read it somewhere from 2 to 2.4 liters of blood
In babies?
in an article or something.
No. It's 4 to 5 liters in females and 5 to 6 liters in males. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what are the functions of blood? What do you think are functions? Now, this you will tell me. I have discussed this already. So just tell me so that we can move to important parts.
Transport of oxygen.
Yes. What?
Transport of oxygen.
Just oxygen. So transportation
Mineral.
is one function, but transportation of everything: O2, CO2, nutrients, right? Even waste.
Yes, sir.
And what else? Hormones.
Minerals.
Yes, sir.
Yes, minerals. Minerals, let's say minerals comes into nutrients. Hormones are not nutrients. No, they are non-nutrient proteins, messengers. And apart from this, anything else which doesn't fit in any of the categories? O2, CO2 are two gases, respiratory gases. Nutrients, everything: protein, carbohydrate, lipids, and, vitamins, minerals. Waste is what our body generates. Apart from CO2, there are other wastes also. And then hormones, and what else? What else blood takes to each and every part of the body? Heat, body heat. Remember? Body heat is also dissipated and transported through blood. That's why when a person undergoes hypothermia, what is hypothermia? Hypo means low.
Low.
And thermia means therm is temperature.
Heat.
Or heat. Yes. So whenever someone has hypothermia, like a cold frost or cold attack, so what brain does is it allows the blood to move more towards the chest, like the heart and the vital organs, and it takes blood away from your extremities as a sacrifice. Because a person can live without a hand, but cannot live without a liver, dead due to cold. And also you will feel it yourself also in winters. If anyone of you has spent winters in cold places, in winters, the first thing that gets very cold is our hands and feet, our extremities, and our ears and nose. Have you felt this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because body tries to give more and more heat to the vital organs first, and then whatever is left is dissipated to other parts of the body through blood. So one is transportation. Very good. See, remember these things. These are just coming from your own biology. What else apart from transportation blood does?
Helps to fight infections.
Helps to fight infections. Yes, so that comes under protection or defense. But how does it help to fight infection? Through?
The WBC.
Yes, through the, that's called phagocytic. Phagocytic means to eat up. Phagocytose, to eat up whatever is coming in the blood. So if there are bacteria coming in the blood, WBCs will just go and literally they will just run after them, chase them, hold them, and engulf them, and then destroy them. So that's called phagocytic activity of WBCs. And apart from this, what functions blood plays?
Platelets
Blood
helps
clotting.
to
It also have antibodies, so it also comes in protection only. It stores antibodies. So all your antibodies or all the vaccines that we get that generate antibodies against various diseases, for example COVID, stays in our blood, right? So whenever the virus will come into the blood, it will be confronted by these antibodies. So one is the phagocytic activity of WBCs, others are antibodies. Yes, apart from this, someone was telling something.
Blood clotting, sir.
Clotting, yes. So it comes under clotting, or it comes under wound healing also, right?
Yes, sir.
So wound healing is important, and this happens due to platelets and certain clotting factors. One of the factors important for clotting, you know, which one is it? We'll talk about it. Okay. It's called fibrin. You have heard of fibrin? S cells? No. Okay. We'll
No.
leave. Apart from this, what else? Blood also helps in the regulation of pH. I told you above, blood acts as a buffer. So whatever you put in the blood, any kind of drug you put in the blood, blood always finds a way to balance its acidity or basicity. So regulation of pH everywhere in the body is maintained by blood. If blood was not there, some parts of the body will just become acidic and other parts will become basic, and there'll be a problem and cells will die. So these are the major functions. Okay. Now let's come to plasma. What is asked about plasma? Blood plasma. Plasma constitutes of 55% of the blood, right? But plasma itself is formed of something. So what is the constitution of plasma? So there are two questions. What is the constitution of blood, and what is the constitution of blood plasma? So you understand the difference? Now plasma
Yes, sir.
is the 55% of blood. Let's say that 55% is 100% of the plasma. So what is plasma made up of? Any idea? I also discussed this last time. Yes, Maria.
Protein.
Water.
Water, yes. So majority of it is made up of water. It's water. Around 90 to 92% is water. Okay. Right. And yes,
Salt.
someone was saying something?
Protein.
Yes. The rest 8% is called solutes. Remember solute and solvent?
Yes, sir.
If the solvent is water, then the rest 8% is called solute,
Solute.
and around majority of it, like mostly of it, is proteins. But these are dissolved proteins, okay, which are dissolved in plasma. So they are about 7 to 8%. So this is your plasma. Very good. Now, what will be these proteins? Basically, they will be the same clotting factors and other things which help in wound healing and maintaining the pH, osmoregularity, and thickness of the blood. Okay. So about these proteins, you will study in higher classes if you go like in your medical, and also it's not important for entrance, but you will study about these proteins. Okay, so this is plasma. One very important protein which is in plasma is called fibrinogen. Now, I'll give you one logic for proteins. Whenever there is a word gen in front of any protein, whether it's an enzyme or it's any activatory protein or anything, it means that it is in its inactive form. So you will find in some books word called pepsinogen and trypsinogen
Yes, sir.
related to digestion. So remember that pepsinogen is the inactive form of pepsin, which gets activated into pepsin by the effect of acid. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So fibrinogen is nothing but, and it activates into fibrin because it's fibrinogen, and fibrin helps in it's the first protein that is deployed along with platelets to help in clotting. Okay. So write down fibrinogen is an important clotting factor and it's present in plasma. Important clotting factor in plasma. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, you also must have heard of one term called serum, blood serum. Have you heard of serum? Have you heard of serum? Serum in the blood serum or any kind of serum? No one has heard the word serum. You must have heard the word serum in your daily life.
Yes, sir.
Where have you heard the word serum, Mariam?
Skincare.
Skincare serums. Yes, right. Yeah, that's a lie, but yes, right. Serum is basically plasma minus all the clotting factors and dissolved proteins. Do you understand? Like basically it's plasma minus fibrinogen and clotting factor, so that serum never clots. If anything has clotting factors, it can clot, right? Plasma can clot, and you will see plasma clotting if any one of you has encountered any pimple or acne and you burst it prematurely, then you see blood comes out, right, from that point of puncture of the skin. But after some time, blood clots and there is a white or a translucent or a pale yellow drop. Anyone of, or even in wounds, you will see that blood clots, but some liquid oozes out. That is plasma. Okay. And after some time, that also clots. So basically, plasma without clotting factors is called serum. Just write it down. It's so serum is plasma minus clotting factors. So serum never clots. Now, what is the advantage of serum over plasma? Can anyone tell me? It never clots, so it does not have clotting factors. But what can we know from a serum? Anyone? Just idea. Any idea? What can we know? How can we use serum? No idea. Okay. So go and figure out where is serum used and how it is advantageous over plasma. For what? You must have, do you know that we donate blood, but we can also just donate the plasma? Do you know this? Anyone?
Yes, sir. So
Right?
this was going on in Delhi, right?
Yes, right.
During Corona.
Yes, I was coming to that. So for many kind of donations where people don't ask for blood, they ask just for plasma, because plasma may be containing antibodies. So all those people who have just recovered from COVID must be having natural antibodies within them, right?
Yes, sir.
Because they have defeated COVID. That's why they got better. So if their antibody is present in their blood, we can just take the plasma and put it into a infected person still with COVID and see whether these antibodies, which are ready made, they can fight the COVID virus or not. That was one thing that people started doing with. It was working for some severity, but in very severe cases, it was not working. It was not that successful, but it helped to some extent, but not very greatly. Okay, now let's talk about the formed elements. So I'll first tell you what is important, then I'll come to the concept of blood grouping, which is an important concept, and it is asked at two places. So blood grouping is also important from genetics point of view. So in heredity and evolution chapter, have you heard about ABO blood grouping as an example of codominance in your class 10th?
No,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
No, yes, both answers. The textbooks were different. So you remember heredity and genetics, Mendel's chapter,
Yes, sir.
heredity and inheritance. In there, you read three laws of Mendel: law of dominance, segregation, and independent assortment.
Yes, sir.
And then to the law of dominance, there were some exceptions like incomplete dominance, codominance. Remember? For incomplete dominance, the example was dragon flower, the color of it blends. And for codominance, it is the blood group of humans, ABO grouping. So it is also important from that perspective and also important from cardiovascular perspective. So today I'll start, I'll talk about blood grouping and we'll try to cover both the perspectives. So let's first talk about formed elements quickly. Now in formed elements, basically we have, as I told you, RBCs, and everything about RBCs we have discussed, which is it does not have a nucleus, it does not have mitochondria, and it also does not have genetic material. And how many RBCs are there in a normal human? Just the range, biological range. Any range? Any one of you have got your blood test? You don't see your blood tests? So we have around 5.4 million RBCs in our blood per. Right. So what is this? Do you know this thing? It's called microliter. So for different tests, the range is always given per something. So 5.4 million RBCs per microliter. If you want to convert it into milliliter, deciliter, or liter, you have to just do the conversion. But just remember this thing. The most standard is microliter. And for females, it's less per microliter. Now this is something which is only related to the formation and how blood is utilized in females. So the overall blood could be less, that's fine. But in the same amount of blood, in per microliter, the RBCs is also less. Do you understand the difference between the two? Ariam, is it clear? So this is not because the overall blood is less in females. Don't get confused by that. So the overall blood could be less, but the number of RBCs per unit liter of blood should be same, right?
Yes.
That also differs in female. Now, can you tell me why that differs in female? Remember we talked about hemoglobin that is directly related to RBCs because hemoglobin is present on the surface of RBCs. And the range of hemoglobin for females is also low.
Yes, sir.
right? Because the overall RBCs per unit liter is also low. Because females lose a lot of RBCs in other processes in the body, in menstrual flow and like other processes. Okay. So this is just facts about WBCs. We will study in immunology. So I'm just leaving WBCs for now. And platelets. Okay, let's come to ABO blood grouping before we start for platelets. Now, all of you know the blood group, your blood group.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is your blood group?
O positive.
Right, high five. Something about blood group. The most common blood group in the world and also in Asia is O positive. Okay, around 42% of female, around 42% of people in Asia, this is the data from the Asia, are O positive, the whole Asia. And in the whole world also, O positive is very common. So most common is O positive. How many of you are O positive? I am O positive, Mariam is O positive. And which is the
Sir,
least?
I am B positive.
You're B positive. Oh, you're B positive. Okay, who's O positive?
Me, sir.
Reba is O positive. Okay, high five, Reba. The most rare blood group is AB negative. Okay, it's the rarest. Very few people have AB negative, and it's the one kind of blood which is very difficult to even find in the blood banks. So just remember these two things first, then we'll come to blood grouping. Now, what is basically this A, B, O, positive and negative? Any idea? So blood is grouped on the basis of certain antigens, which are proteins, surface proteins present on RBC. So all this grouping is decided by RBC, not by WBC. Okay. Now, on the surface of RBC, apart from hemoglobin, there are a lot of other things. One few of such things is your antigens. So there are two types of antigens which can be present on the surface of RBC. One is called A, antigen A. We have named is antigen A and antigen B. Okay. Now, if it is an antigen and it is present on the surface, so if an antigen will go into some other person's body where whose blood group is different, let's say antigen A goes into the body of a person whose blood group is B because it has antigen B in its body. Okay, so the body of person B will create antibodies against antigen A. Do you understand the concept?
Yes, sir.
Why will it create antibodies? Simple, because that's a foreign particle. My body have never seen that particle because it's not a part of my genetics and my blood group. So I think that is a foreign particle and could be harmful to me. So blood produces antibody against antigen A and destroys antigen A. Okay. So now do you understand why we cannot donate a blood from blood group A to a person with blood group B? Why blood group matching is important? Because antigen antibody reaction will takes place and the person will die. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now there are two type of antigens and against them two type of antibodies. Now let's say I represent, so make a table in your copies where you will make three things. Write down first as genetic makeup, blood group, and antibodies. First, we'll do that. Everyone has done it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's represent. Okay. So every genome, every human's genome is deployed. Clear? I'm just checking your foundations. All of our genome is deployed. So we have 2 copies of gene, right? One gene comes from the father and the other gene comes from the mother.
Mother.
Right? So let's say this is chromosome which is coming from the mother, and for the gene for blood group or for antigens, it has antigen A on it, right? So from mother you got antigen A, and let's say from father also you got antigen A. So what will be the blood group?
A positive.
A. Positive or negative we have not talked about yet. Okay. Now we will talk about positive or negative here in RH factor, but let's keep it for some time later. It confuses when both of them are explained together. So you have blood group A, and what antibodies will you have in your body? Anti-B, right? So capital letters are denoted for, let's denote capital letter for blood group and small for antibodies. So if your blood group is A, you will have anti-B antibodies against B, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you got one gene for A from one parent, and from other parent, you got no gene, like no antibody. It is also a possibility that no antigen is there in your body. In that case, we call it O. And we write it as IO. In some books, you will also find they write it as small I. Okay. Capital I, A, IO. Now, what will be the blood group in this case? Again, the blood group will be A, because A and B. Now, here comes Mendelian genetics. The gene for antigen A is equivalent and co-dominant for the gene for antigen B. Is it clear?
Yes,
So
sir.
when they are both present, what is dominance basically? You remember doing Mendel's cross where capital T and small t, capital T was for tallness and
Yes,
small t
sir.
was for
Yes,
shortness.
sir.
And whenever these two are present together, a capital T and a small t is present together, what will be the plant? Tall.
Capital B.
No, plant will not be capital T, plant will be tall.
Small.
Because small t will not be able to show its effect in the presence of a dominant allele, right? Just some
Yes,
brushes,
sir.
101 genetics. So that is called classical genetics, where one allele is dominant over the other. That happens for almost all our genes, mostly, predominantly. Like for eye color, hair color, texture, everything. You get one copy from father, one from mother, and whichever is dominant will express and the other will just stay there as recessive, right? Co-dominance is an exception to law of dominance, because in this both the alleles are equally dominant and no one is silenced in the presence of other. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So when
Yes, sir.
A and B, ABO blood grouping is one such example where A and B, the gene for antigen A and the gene for antigen B, are co-dominant and both express and produce the protein in the presence of each other. But both are dominant over O. Both are dominant over O. Because O simply means nil, nothing. O is nothing. So it's very difficult to say that something is nothing, but just understand that when there is no gene for either antigen A or antigen B present in your genome, we call it O. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
O itself is not an antigen. Therefore, you will never can have an antibody against O because it is nothing, it's zero. So from one parent, if you get a gene for antigen A and from other parent you get nothing, what will be your blood group? A.
A.
And what antibodies will you have?
B.
Anti-B. Make this habit of saying anti-B against B, right? Let's go to other possibility. From one parent you get A and from any other parent you got B. Now what will happen?
AB.
AB blood group.
Sorry. Excuse me. Yes, the blood group will be
AB.
AB. Now, pay attention. Because both are co-dominant, so both will express and both will define the blood group. So both type of antigens will be there in your blood if you are AB. Is anyone AB here? Positive or negative doesn't matter. Anyone who's AB. No. But if someone is AB, then both type of antigens are present, right? So what will be the antibodies? If in your blood you have antigen A and antigen B also, will you produce antibodies against any of the antigens?
No.
Yes, if you produce antibodies, you will kill your own antigens. So it's called nil. No antibodies will be there. Is it clear why?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because both antigens are present. So upon blood group, I'm just writing antigens. Both antigens are present, hence no antibody is present, right? Now, if no antibody is present in your blood, what does it mean? What does it mean when I say that there is no antibody in your blood because your blood group is AB? Forget positive, negative for now. What does it mean? Tell me quickly.
Take blood from
Won't be
anyone.
able.
Sorry, what?
They won't be able to detect any foreign particles.
Exactly. They not any foreign particles. They won't be able to react against either A or
Yes,
B,
sir.
right? So AB can technically receive blood from A,
Both.
B, O, and AB, all the groups, right?
Yes, sir.
This was the problem. No? What was the problem? We were not taking blood from other groups because if I take blood from other group, there will be a reaction in my blood. My antibodies will start fighting against something that is present in their blood. But if I am AB, I have no antibodies. So I can take from A, from B, from O, and from AB, of course. Right? To be simple, we have not included the concept of RH factor here till now. Is it clear, everyone? On the same page?
Yes, sir.
Now, if from one parent you get same, let's say now you get B and from other nothing, then your blood group will be B,
B.
and you have anti A bodies. Okay. If from one parent you get B and from other also you got B, then also your blood group will be B and the antibodies will be anti-A. One possibility is from both the parents you got nothing, no antigen. Then what will be your blood group?
Oh,
Oh.
Hi Reba. You understood now?
Yes, sir.
You got no antigen from our parents. Now, what is the problem now? Problem is we will have antibodies, not a problem, it's just biology that we will have both antibodies, right? In our blood. Anti-A also and anti-B also. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Now, people with blood group O, can they take blood from A, B or AB?
No.
No. You know, so people with blood group O with no antigen in their blood and both the antibodies in their blood cannot take it from any of the blood group which is A or B related. So we can only take from other O people, right?
Yes,
Becomes
sir.
a problem, right? Becomes a problem because we are narrowed down. But we have
Yes,
to
sir.
survive. Now, biology has found another way. Remember I told you which is the most common blood group?
O.
Oh,
Because O are called donors. O is a donor group. It can donate to anyone. So we are donors. Riba. Be proud of. It is a donor group because it does not contain any antigen. So it can very safely donate to anyone, positive, negative apart. We'll talk about it later. And AB is called recipient group. What is it called?
Recipient group.
It can receive from all. Now, because O are donors and we need lot of donors to survive, that's why the most common blood group is O. Good for humanity, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So we have a real reason for our bloods. So if you are from donor group, please go and donate blood. If you are from any blood group, go and donate blood when you are like eligible for it, because we can make blood. And anyways, you know that many components of our blood will just die and get replenished after 120 days. So there is no problem. Give it to save someone's life. Now let's talk about RH factor. Now this is something which complicates a bit. Is it okay if I take 5-10 minutes more than like the hour? Is it fine for everyone just to complete RH?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now RH factor is called rhesus factor. What is it called?
Rhesus factor.
I'll write it here. It's called rhesus factor, and it was first discovered and identified in rhesus monkeys. Remember, evolutionary rhesus macaques or monkeys. Rhesus macaques or rhesus monkeys are related to us, distantly, because they are the first kind of primates that are that can actually stand on 2 foot, but they mostly walk on all the 4 foot and have a tail. We don't have a tail and we are bipedal. But the blood factor rhesus comes from that lineage, and it is still present in us, which tells that no other group which was before rhesus monkeys, let's say amphibians, reptiles, even if they will have red blood cells, even if they will have hemoglobin and everything else in the blood, they will not have RH factor. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
This is also proof in evolution that when we say that we bifurcated, mammals bifurcated from reptiles, and then in the mammals also primates bifurcated from non-primates, then primates hold this RH factor. Now this RH factor is again an antigen which can either be present or not present. If it is present, we call something as RH positive. Okay. And if it is not present, we call it RH negative. Now, if the RH factor is present, then there is no problem, right? Because if the RH factor is present itself, it will not produce antibodies against RH, right? But in those where RH factor is not present, there will be a anti-RH antibody, right? Because this is something which is not in us, so we will not recognize it, and anything which comes which is not from our body, we make antibodies against it. This is how biology works. Just like for O group, we have no antigen, so we make antibodies against both. Similarly, if someone has no RH factor, it will make antibody against RH factor, and again it can lead to a reaction in the blood. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
RH factor is a single factor, and in evolution it is coming from the lineage of rhesus monkeys. And why it is still in us tells evolutionary that somewhere when our ancestors who were not humans, like humans are us, so monkeys can never become humans, but ancestors of humans, chimpanzees and rhesus monkeys at one point of time were common, and that is where the factor came from in all these lineages. Okay, otherwise it's something very distinctly to rhesus and us. So if RH factor is present, now let's superimpose this RH factor to all the blood groups. If a blood group is A positive, if the blood group is A positive, it will have only one antibody, which is anti-B, right?
Yes, sir.
But if A is A negative, it will have anti-B plus anti-RH. Clear?
Yes, sir.
If AB is positive, then it will just have it will have no antibodies. But if AB is negative, then it will have one antibody which is anti-RH. Make sense?
NTRL.
Same is for B. If B is positive, then it will only have anti-A, but if B is negative, it will also have anti-A and anti-RH, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Same is for O. O positive, both the antibodies will be there. And if someone is O negative, it will have 3 antibodies, the maximum number of antibodies for blood grouping. All the antibodies will be present in a person who's O negative. Make sense till here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, no confusion, anyone?
No.
Cool. Now tell me, AB is already recipient group, but if someone is AB negative, can it
It
receive?
can't receive from anybody that is positive.
Yes, so AB positive will receive blood from all the groups, every possible group. A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, O positive, O negative. AB positive can receive from everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
So which is the universal recipient group?
AB
Be
positive.
positive.
AB negative can only receive from all the groups, but from negative RH. Okay, you understand?
Yes, sir.
AB negative can receive from A negative, B negative, O negative, and AB negative. But no positive should come, because whenever positive comes in negative, negatives have a anti-RH against the positive, right? Against the antigen. So the universal group, universal recipient group is AB negative, AB positive. Write down. It's not AB negative also. So write down against AB positive. It's the universal. It's called universal recipient group. Now with the same logic, can someone tell me from O which will be the universal donor group?
O negative.
O negative.
Negative.
Right. Perfect. Because in O negative, there is no antigen. No antigen at all. Neither antigen of A, neither antigen of B, or neither antigen of RH. So there is no antigen. That's why O negative becomes a universal donor group. So if in your exam this question comes and they have mentioned negative and positive in front of it, be very careful. Don't just see O and choose O. Choose between O negative and O positive also if negative positive is included. If it is not included, you know that AB is recipient and O is donor. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So O negative people can give blood to any blood group without. So if the donor comes and says I'm O negative, they don't check for anything else. They just check for infections, or if you do not have a disease, and you can donate to any person and save life. And if a person comes who needs blood and is AB positive, then also we just need to check for infections and we can give any blood to AB positive. Right? So this is the genetic makeup of it. Is it clear? Even the RH factor is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So write down something about RH factor. RH factor comes from the rhesus monkeys. Comes from the rhesus monkeys. It's also known as RH antigen, just like A and B antigen. It's also known as RH antigen. And one question which comes, it was discovered in 1940. After like 1940, it was discovered in 1940 by Landsteiner. 1940 by Landsteiner. There was one more person, Wiener and Landsteiner. It's called Landsteiner and Wiener. They are two different names. Okay. So this was very crucial. This discovery was very crucial because before that, people knew that there is blood group. Okay. But they were still confused. Physicians were still confused that a person is A and another person is also A. It's matching the group. But when we are doing the like the blood transfusion, the person is showing vigorous reactions. So now do you understand what was the reason then? The reason was RH. They were not checking the RH, right? So the RH was still reacting in the blood. So this just completed the blood grouping. ABO is the most technically complete blood grouping, but it's not foolproof. In the blood, there are multiple, like more than 300 factors that have been discovered till now, on the basis of which you can distinguish bloods and which blood should be given to which patient. But till now, these three, keeping into mind these three, has worked for most of the conditions. So that's the most standard blood grouping. Okay, people have tried all different sorts of blood grouping on the basis of other antigens in the blood. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I ask you, so if I just donate plasma, all these things will be negated, right? If someone is simply donating plasma and not the blood cells in it, then anyone's plasma can be given to anyone. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's why plasma donation is very much safer than blood donations, because no such factor is there. Okay, so I see that you may be having other classes. So that's where I end the class. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Revise this, okay?
Thank you, sir.
In the next
Thank you, sir.
the heart and the anatomy and the cardiovascular anatomy. Okay?